Hello Python programmers. So in this video I'm going to show you that how you can encrypt and decrypt an image file using Python. So first of all, let me show you that what you can expect from this video. What will be the final output that you can expect from this video. So let's run our Python program. Okay, so this is a small GUI which will ask you for a code or a pin. Let's say that we pass 45. You can pass any number as a key here. Okay, so just pass any number and press on this encrypt button. It will ask you for the image file. Just select that image file and click open. Okay, so now our image is encrypted. Let's go to back our folder, and there you can see if we click on this image we cannot open this. Okay, now let me close this GUI. You can decrypt it back by clicking on this again, but let me show you on a new GUI. So let's open the new GUI and let's provide the key. I guess it was 45. Okay, let's select the image and let's go back, and here you can see our image has been decrypted back. Okay, so this is the project that we'll create. Okay, so let's get to our editor so that we can start writing our code. Okay, so now we are into our editor. So the first thing that we need to do is import the required library, which is tkinter. We'll be using tkinter to create our GUI. Okay, so now we have imported the star of tkinter, or all the components of tkinter, which refers to all the buttons, all the labels and everything which you can implement on a tkinter GUI. And second thing, we have imported the file dialog from our tkinter, which will help us open that file selection option which we have seen on our GUI. Okay, so first let's build our GUI, then we'll see that how we can encrypt and decrypt it. So this is the tk instance. Then we'll define that what will be the geometry. Okay, so it should be geometry. Now if you are a regular viewer of my channel, you must be familiar with these commands, so it should be a geometry. Okay, okay, now let's say the size of our GUI is 200 by 160. This is the size that I have experimented with. If you want that small and cute GUI, you can use this height and width. Okay, or you can just experiment with yours. Now we need to add two things. First is the button which will open that file dialog box. Second thing is our entry widget which will ask the user for the key. Okay, so let's create the button and entry widget. Okay, so now we have created our button and entry widget. Let me quickly explain you that what each parameters mean. Okay, so all the value of this button will be saved in this b1 variable. Button is the method name. Make sure that this b is capital. Then the first parameter inside is this root GUI instance. Second parameter is the text that will be present on our button, which is encrypt. Now I guess there should be a y here. Okay, and the third parameter is the action that this button will trigger. Okay, so this button will trigger a function called encrypt image. Just a second, this should also be y. Okay, so encrypt image. So let's create that function, otherwise our program will raise an error. Okay, so encrypt image, let's print something inside, blah 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 blah. Okay, now after this we'll place our button on x-axis 70 and y-axis 10. Let's assume that our screen is in the form of coordinates, so it will be present, our button will be present at x-axis 70 and y-axis 10. Okay, now let's see what are the parameters of entry widget or the text box widget. actually we aren't using the entry widget, we are using the text box widget. Okay, so we have created this entry1 variable here, and then this text is the method name. First parameter is root, the GUI instance. The next parameter is the height of our text box, and third parameter is the width of our text box. The height is 1 and the width is 10. Okay, once again you can play along with these value as much you can. Okay, now we have placed our entry widget at x is equal to 50 and y is equal to 50 at exact the center position. Okay, now we have closed our main loop to successfully bind up these components on our GUI. Okay, so let's save this and let's run our Python program. And here you can see that this is our beautiful GUI, small and compact. Okay, so let's work on our encrypt image function, which will actually extract the image and then encrypt it. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to create the file dialog box. So what we'll do is we'll create a file1 variable and then we'll use file dialog box. Okay, actually it will also have a method called ask open file. Now this will accept two parameters. First is the mode, whether you want to read or you want to write, whether you want to extract the data or you want to put the data. Okay, so we'll be using the R method because we are extracting the data. Okay, now the second parameter is the file type. Let's say you want to see only one type of file, so we'll write a tuple inside this. Okay, first will be the name which will be present on the options menu, so jpg file, and then the actual format. So this will be for .jpg. Okay, if you also want to include the png file, you can write here png file and then .png file. Okay, but I only want for our jpg files. Okay, so yeah. Okay, now the next thing that we need to do is we need to see whether our file variable is empty or not. If user has selected a file or have just closed it without selecting a file, in that case if this condition is not used, our program will raise an error. Okay, if file is not none. Okay, so pretty much understandable. If this is not none or it is having some value, then first of all let's see that what is the type of our file variable. Okay, then only we can extract the file name. Okay, so let's run this and let's click on this extract button. Okay, so this is our dialog box. Let's select the image and open. Okay, so we are having an error. File is not defined because the variable name is file1. Okay, so my bad. Let's run this again. Let's select the file. Let's click open. And okay, so file is again not defined. Let's save this and let's run this again, and I'll be making sure that I am writing file everywhere. Okay, so let's select and run this, and you can see that this is the format of the output that we are getting. Okay, so this is a text IO wrapper, and the data that we want is inside this name key. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll create a file name variable. Okay, so we'll create a file name variable, and inside that file name variable we'll place file1 dot name. Okay, so just a second, name. Okay, so now let's just a second, so let me add some space, and then let's print our file name variable so that we can be sure that we are getting the right data to perform the further operations. So let's print this file name, and no, I don't want to purchase. Let's save this and let's run our program. Let's click on this encrypt button, select the jpg file, and so was I printing the name? Yeah, I was printing. Let me comment this out for just a second. Okay, Let's run again. Let's select the file and then let's click open. Okay, so yeah, we are getting the exact path of the file. So yeah, we can perform the operation on this data now. Now what we need to do is we need to extract the key which is entered by the user in this entry widget. Okay, so we'll create an key variable and then we'll simply write entry1 dot get and then from 0 to the very end. Okay, from actually 1.0 we want everything. Okay, now let's see whether we are getting the exact file name and the key. So we'll print our file name and key. Now when I'm working on projects like this, I often print my values so that I can be sure that I'm feeding the right data. Okay, so let's save this and let's run our program again and let's select the file. Okay, so we haven't entered any key. Let's enter 5 and let's select. Okay, so yeah, we are getting the exact data. So let's close all the windows. Now what we need to do is we need to extract the data from that specific file. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll create a file variable and then we'll open the file name which has the path plus the file name of our selected image, and then we'll use the RB method which will read the data in the byte format, and then we'll create an image variable and store all the data in this. So dot read read, and then let's close this. Okay, so we have extracted the data. Now we don't want this file open. Let's close this. Now what you need to do is you need to convert this data into byte array so that we can perform the operations, because initially the data is present in the pixel intensities. We are converting it to byte values, so we'll write byte array. So byte array of the image. Okay, and then for let's say index and values in enumerate, it should be ERATE. Okay, enumerate of this image. Now what this enumerate method do is it will provide index to all the values. Now let's take a example. Let's say that we have a long list. So what this enumerate method will do is it will provide index or the address for each of those value. Let's say we have I know Python, so if we apply this enumerate method to that list or tuple, then it will provide index to all the values, like I is 1, no is 2, Python is 3. Okay, so now I missed one thing here. Tuples cannot be edited, so it won't be able to provide the index there, but it can provide on list and strings. Okay, basically it's used for those iterable variables like for while loop and range function. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll edit the values. So for image of index, we want to change the value. What we'll do is we'll use the XOR method. Now I'll explain you what that XOR method is. First let me write. So where am I going? So let me write this. So we'll write value, I guess it's values. Okay, so values, this XOR operator, and then the integer of key. Okay, so what this XOR operator does is it provides an interchangeable values. Let's say that we provide a is equal to 50 and b is equal to 5, and then we do a XOR b. The c variable will have 55 in the first time this XOR operator is performed. In the next time, if we apply this XOR method, it will give 50 value again. Now let me show you. I'm pretty sure that you are not able to understand from that example. Let's say a is equal to 50 and b is equal to 5, and then we create a c variable and apply this XOR method to it, so a to b. Okay, and then let's print, actually we can simply write this c and it will be printed. Okay, so here you can see it is 55. If we apply this XOR again, so let's write this c. Now actually my bad, I was applying this to another variable. Let me apply this to the same variable and show you. Okay, so a into b. Okay, and let's play this a variable, it's 55. Now let's do this again to b, and you can see that the value is returned to be 50. So now I guess you got my point when I was saying this XOR operator to act as interchanging operator. Okay, so let's get back to our program. Now we have changed the values. Let's save the value into the file back. So we'll do fi1, let's say, and then we do open, and this time we'll write the file name. Okay, so we'll write the file name, and this time we'll be using the wb method because we are writing the data, and then we'll be just fi1 dot write. We want to write the data inside, and the data that will be written will be this image variable. Okay, the data having all the changed values. So we'll do fi1 dot close. Okay, so I guess we are done. Let me first save this and show you that whether it's running or not, then I'll explain you this function again, because I'm pretty sure that you must be confused with how we are changing the values. Okay, so let's run this again, and let me close this PowerShell. Let's go back to the folder. Let me refresh this, and python1.py. okay, let's provide the key. Let's select the image. Okay, so our program runs successfully. Let's get back, and we can see that our image has been encrypted. Our image viewer was not able to read the image. So let's refresh this again, and let's run another Python program. So this time let's see if the same Python program was able to decrypt this image or not. So let's click on this decrypt. Let's select the image and whether we were running. Okay, so our program is running. It's taking a bit of time. Okay, so our program has been executed, and here you can see that our image is back. So our image is decrypted. Let me explain the program again, and then we'll end up this video. Okay, so we have created this GUI. Now I don't think so I need to explain anything in this GUI part. Okay, so we have first created this file1 variable in which the file dialog value will be stored. This is the GUI which is asking for the file. Okay, now if the file1 is not none or the user has selected any file, then what we'll do is we'll extract the file name from that whole bunch of data, whatever it was, and then we'll extract the key from this text box. And then what we'll do is we'll first of all open the image by rb method because we are just reading it, and then we'll read the data and store that into an image variable. Then we are converting this into an byte array. Okay, and then we are using the enumerate method to define the key for each value of this image variable. Okay, so we'll have two values. First the position of each values, and then the value itself. So we'll apply this XOR method. Now I have explained you with the example also that how this XOR operator works. It acts as interchangeable operator so that we can use this same program for encrypting and for decrypting. Okay, then we have changed the values, then we have saved the changed values into the same file name. Okay, So this was a pretty simple program, and I don't think so you would be having any problem. But if you're having any problem, you can comment down below. I'll be very happy to answer your questions. Okay, so this is it, and I'll meet you in my next lecture where we'll create something more awesome. Okay, so meet you there. Bye bye.